Shabbat Shalom. This is the brother Ra'aya with another Shabbat lesson. But before I get started, as always, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and whom I learned this truth from. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shabbat Shalom. And I'm going to start this video off in Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, that deceiver, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. And that tribulation for 10 days just means a complete amount of tribulation for whatever your lot is. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So no matter what comes our way, to you sincere Akim and Akwath out there, just endure it. Because as it says, if you're faithful unto death, if it's your lot to be a martyr for the testimony of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, you'll receive that crown of life and be of that elect number. But as it said at the beginning of this verse, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, Esau Edom, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. We know that these Edomite governments out here have all these different programs and protocols set up to come against those that speak out against the government and really the rulership of Esau Edom as a whole. And this word is a threat, the ultimate threat to the rulership of these Edomites, because by us prophesying, we're bringing about the downfall of Esau Edom's kingdom. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And this gospel of the kingdom has been preached into the world for a witness unto all nations, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, since there are GMS camps all across the planet, in Canada, in the United States of America, or Babylon the Great, Central and South America, Africa, the UK, Europe, Japan, the Philippines, you name it. And as it says, and then shall the end come. So like I just said, by simply preaching the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, we're bringing about the downfall of Esau Edom's kingdom. Hence, why this devil is about to come down in great wrath, as it says in Revelation 12, verse 12, to try to keep his kingdom from going down. Therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Speaking of those that have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, we know that whatever may come our way, as long as we endure until the end, we'll receive that crown of life. As it said back in Revelation 2, verse 10, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life, ultimately being of that elect number. Woe or destruction to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, the people that are part of this world, especially the wicked of our people, 2/3 in the United States of America, and the wicked of our people globally, who are going to have no protective hedge from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai that day, and get the full force of Esau Edom's wrath, ultimately the wrath of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. For the devil, again Esau Edom, more specifically the elites that are in the know, is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. These elites understand the scriptures and know that whenever the children of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today, wake back up to their identity and start calling back on their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and also when the prophets of the Most High are out prophesying against whatever kingdom's ruling at that time, that kingdom is going to come to an end. And these elites of the Edomites know that they're Edomites and know what the fate of the Edomites are after they're taken out of power. 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery before they're permanently culled from this planet with fire. And this devil can see all the end time signs and prophecies, either in the process of taking place or taking place as we speak. And they know that their time's almost up. So again, they're about to come down in great wrath and pull out all the stops to keep their kingdom afloat and to keep the kingdom of heaven from coming to pass. And that involves going after those who they know are Israelites, to cast them into prison and ultimately put them to death. And that's what I'll be going into with this Shabbat lesson, with an article from beforeitsnews.com. CIA, or the Central Intelligence Agency, threat list names 8 million Americans who will be detained or executed when martial law is imposed. And we know that with some of these leaked documents that they've got the red list, the blue list, I think the black list, the red list, and the yellow list. The black list is for those who you just, put them down on sight. The red list is for those I believe to be, now don't quote me on it, are those that are to be detained and brought to these different centers, these concentration camps, FEMA camps, you name it, to be tortured and then ultimately put to death. And then the yellow list is for those that are still pliable and can be brought back into the fold of this new system they want to set up, the NW0, the GREATRESET, that fourth industrial revolution. But hey, as we read in Matthew chapter 24 verse 12, with us simply preaching this gospel, we're bringing about the end of things. So what list do you think, the prophets of the Most High and you Israelites as a whole who identify as Israelites are on? That black list and that red list. Are you one of the millions of innocent American citizens that have been designated a threat to national security by the U.S. government? Scary times we are living in. The government of the United States announced that they are going to go with FEMA concentration camps to control the spread of the virus. Because of these YouTube algorithms, we have to speak in code. And probably with a few more words, I'll be changing them around a little bit. But for those of you who don't know this, FEMA is another word for martial law and a way to control the population. No one knows exactly how many documents Edward Snowden illegally accessed and downloaded while working as a contract employee for a national security agency, NSA Signals Intelligence Facility in Hawaii. Some estimate as many as 1.3 million. As a contracted NSA systems administrator with top secret sensitive compartmented information, SCI clearance, Snowden certainly had access to millions of classified documents. Are you on the list? Are you one of the millions of Americans that have been designated a threat to national security by the U.S. government? Will you be subject to detention? That devil shall cast some of you into prison that ye may be tried, when Walmart is imposed during a major national emergency. And there's another one of these operations out here called, what was it called? Project Zypher. And when you look that up, it says that about a week before Walmart is instituted, there will be blackouts so that the government and these different agencies can go out and get these people that they deem a threat to national security and to throw them into detention centers and torture them and put them to death. Main Core is the code name of the American governmental database that is believed to have been in existence since the 1980s, and what was exacted in 1984, Rex 84, which deals with you so-called African Americans, you so-called Negroes, the Southern Kingdom, more specifically Judah. Rex 84 deals with rounding you up and sending you to these detention centers in the event of social unrest or any other issues that are a threat to national security. It is believed that Main Core is a federal database containing personal and financial data of millions of United States citizens, clarification needed, believed to be threats to national security. The data, which is believed to come from the NSA, FBI, and CIA, and a lot of these social media platforms like Facebook have ties to these organizations like the FBI and CIA. So everything we do, every social media post you put up, every YouTube video you upload, every text you sent is being monitored and cataloged, and determines what list you're going to be on when this devil comes down in great wrath. And other sources is collected and stored without warrants or court orders. The database's name derives from the fact that it contains copies of the main core or essence of each item of intelligence information on Americans produced by the FBI and other agencies of the U.S. intelligence community. As of 2008, there were allegedly 8 million Americans listed in the database as possible threats. And what's interesting is that a couple of months ago, that demon, that agent, Vocab Malone, did a seminar showing that there are about about 1 million self-identifying Hebrew Israelites, or as he'd like to call them, black Hebrew Israelites in the United States of America. But best believe there's more than that. And best believe that the majority of these people on these lists are the Hebrew Israelites, especially the prophets who are out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles on the internet, bringing down Esau Edom's rulership, often for trivial reasons, whom the government may choose to track, question, or detain in a time of crisis. The existence of the database was first asserted in May 2008 by Christopher Ketchum, and again in July 2008 by Tim Sharrock. As you will see below, there is actually a list that contains the names of at least 8 million Americans known as Main Corps that the U.S. intelligence community has been compiling since the 1980s. And there's also another project out there, or operation, called Cable Splicer, which is the Rex 84 for the Northern Kingdom of the nation of Israel, you so-called Latinos and Native Americans. And so this Edomite U.S. government has everything covered when it comes to the children of Israel and how they're going to attempt to deal with them when that time comes for this devil to come down in great wrath. An article on Washington's blog quoted a couple of old magazine articles that mentioned this program, and I was intrigued because I didn't know what it was. So I decided to look into Main Corps, and what I found out was absolutely stunning, especially in light of what Edward Snowden had just revealed to the world. It turns out that the U.S. government is not just gathering information on all of us. The truth is that the U.S. government has used this information to create a list of threats to national security that the government would potentially watch, question, or even detain during a national crisis. If you have been publicly critical of the government, there's a very good chance that you are on that list. And the prophets of the Most High, again chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, are publicly critical of the government. We go out onto the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles on the internet. This is Isaiah chapter 13 verse 2. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. And in the scriptures, mountains can be symbolic for governments. And we are lifting up a banner and exalting the voice unto them, going out onto the highways and byways, preaching the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, as well as putting up video epistles, condemning Esau Edom and his rulership to his face. And again, as it says in Matthew 24 verse 14, when this gospel of the kingdom is preached in the world for a witness unto all nations, then the end shall come. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that ye may go into the gates of the nobles. Again, going out into the agora, or the chief places of concourse. The brothers being out on the highways and byways preaching this word, shaking their fist and exalting their voice to the nobles, as well as going onto the internet and exalting our voice and shaking our hands at the nobles through the video epistles. This is Psalms chapter 19. I'm going to start at verse 1, and the header reads, The works and the word of the Most High. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. And that's talking about the second heavens, or space, more specifically low orbit space, where these satellites that beam these internet signals all across the planet are. Hey, the brothers do their videos, upload them to the internet, and then these satellites in the heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night sheweth knowledge. Hey, it's safe to say that just about every minute, day or night, a brother is uploading a video prophesying against this kingdom of Esau Edom. I'm doing a video right now uttering the speeches and shewing the knowledge of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you've got GMS camps everywhere. You got brothers speaking in many different languages and tongues. You've even got brothers that do sign language in the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And that's just brothers that have cameras and are able to show their works. Imagine how many brothers are out there, whether in GMS or not, but following after the doctrine of GMS, which is ultimately the doctrine of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that are prophesying without cameras. It's an innumerable number. Their line is gone out through all the earth. And when you're on the internet, what are you? Online. And their words to the end of the world. And as it said back in Matthew chapter 24, verse 14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And a big factor in that is the unicorn, the internet, and then shall the end come. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. And in the scriptures, the sun can be symbolic for knowledge. Okay, so we're preaching the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, bringing down Esau Edom's rulership. Hence why they've been coming up with all these different operations and data collection, and created these different detention centers so that when that devil comes down in great wrath, he'll have all the infrastructure set up to come after the Hebrew Israelites, to try to get the elect and put them to death and keep this word from going out. Hey, but you Edomites, it's through for you. As it says in Isaiah 55 verse 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. It's stated in the scriptures, hey, that you're going to come against us, and you're going to get some of us and put us to death. But ultimately, you're going to lose. You're going to be taken out of power, go into slavery, and then after that first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven, be permanently cold from this planet with fire. I'll reread this. It turns out that the U.S. government is not just gathering information on all of us. The truth is that the U.S. government has used this information to create a list of threats to national security that the government would potentially watch, question, and even detain during a national crisis. The devil shall cast some of you into prison that ye may be tried. If you have ever been publicly critical of the government, and going into the gates of the nobles and lifting up that banner upon the high mountain, raising the voice and shaking the fist, there's a very good chance you are on that list. And the Hebrew Israelites have always been on the watch by the government and these other entities. Another project is Project Megiddo. Project Megiddo was a report researched and written by the United States' Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, under Director Louis Freeh, released on October 20th, 1999, and back in that article it says they've been gathering information on people since the 1980s. The report named followers of so-called white, really Edomite supremacy, Christian identity, the American militia movement, and who? The so-called black Hebrew Israelites. Because this isn't a color thing. Like we say, you've got the Southern Kingdom, which are your so-called Negroes, so-called black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call them. But then you've got the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. And let's not forget the Israelite foreigners who look like these heathen nations. You have Israelites out there that look like so-called white people or Edomites, so-called Chinese or Moabites, etc., etc. and apocalyptic cults as potential terrorists who might become violent in reaction to the new millennium. Hey, so Project Megiddo, which was released on October 20th of 1999, shows that the government's been watching the Hebrew Israelites. And when you click onto the Wikipedia page for the Hebrew Israelites, one of the groups they'll mention is One West, which GMS, or Great Millstone, came out of, as well as your IUICs, ISUPKs, I think GOCC, so pretty much every Israelite group out there. And we're all under watch. They look at our internet searches, they look at our texts, listen to our phone calls, do everything. They like our apostle elders and the brothers are always telling you, know exactly what you've been involved in. We're considered enemies of the state by preaching the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Again, by preaching this word, it's bringing about the downfall of Esau Edom's kingdom. So that is considered a threat to national security. Don't be surprised when they roll on us early in the morning, when you're in asleep, they kick in your door and come and take you. Or you get a knock at the door by one of these alphabet boys to be questioned, you're arrested, anything like that. Again, know what you signed up for, Akim, and know that if you endure until the bitter end, like a good soldier of Yahweh Shai HaMashayat, as it said back in Revelation 2 verse 10, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You'll be of that elect number. At the time, the shocking information that he revealed did not get that much attention. That is quite a shame, because it should have sent shockwaves across the nation. According to a senior government official who served with high-level security clearances in 5 administrations, there exists a database of Americans who often, for the slightest and most trivial reason, are considered unfriendly, and who, in a time of panic, such as that devil coming down in great wrath, order out of chaos, a state of Walmart, to further institute his NW0, might be incarcerated, that she shall be cast into prison. The database can identify and locate perceived enemies of the state almost instantaneously. He and other sources tell Radar that the database is sometimes referred to by the code name Main Corps. One knowledgeable source claims that 8 million Americans are now listed in Main Corps as potentially subject. In the event of a national emergency, these people could be subject to everything from heightened surveillance, which best believe we're already under heightened surveillance. There was a brother that did a video a couple of years ago where he recorded a phone call from one of the alphabet boys calling him and making threats to him saying, oh, we know you like looking at little girls. Oh, we got all this information on you. We're going to do this, that, and the other to you. They're trying to threaten and pressure the brother, and tracking to direct questioning and possibly even detention. Of course, federal law is somewhat vague as to what might constitute a national emergency. Executive orders issued over the last 3 decades define it as a natural disaster, military attack, or technological or other emergency, while Department of Defense documents include eventualities like riots, acts of violence, insurrections, and these are things we prophesy are going to take place according to the scriptures, unlawful obstructions or assemblages, and disorder prejudicial to public law and order. According to one news report, even national opposition to U.S. military invasion abroad could be a trigger. So if that list contained 8 million names all the way back in 2008, how big might it be today? That is a very frightening thing to think about. And remember that our apostle elders went on to YouTube back in 2007, and after that, you really saw that great awakening of many Israelite men and women coming back to, realizing that they were the Israelites and coming back to their identity, following after the ways of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And then more prophets out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting a video epistles on the internet. So that list has definitely grown since 2008. Later on in 2018, Tim Sharix also reported on Main Corps. Dating back to the 1980s and known to government insiders as Main Core, the database reportedly collects and stores, without warrant or court orders, the names and detailed data of Americans considered to be threats of national security. Let's see, it's pretty much saying the same thing right here. I'm going to jump around a bit. I'll jump here. Edward Snowden has just made that abundantly clear to the entire world. After 2008, it is unclear exactly what happened to Main Core. Did it expand? And what do you think the answer is? Change names, merge with other programs, or get superseded by a new program? Best believe it's still in existence. They may have changed things around to take off heat from it, from documents like this, but it's still around and it's definitely expanded. It appears extremely unlikely that it simply faded away. In light of what we have just learned about NSA snooping, someone should ask our politicians some very hard questions about Main Core. But don't hold your breath, because these politicians are nothing more than puppets of the powers that be, the elites following after their agenda. As it says in Revelation chapter 13, that dragon that spake with two horns of a lamb, and those two horns can represent this binary system of things, two sides, red versus blue, conservative versus liberal, Republican versus Democrat, you name it, to give people the illusion that they have a choice and that their voices or votes matter. But as it says, those two horns like a lamb are attached to that dragon being these elites, and them pushing forward their ultimate agenda, that NW0, that GREATRESET, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, these draconian measures, and to lock people down, take away their rights, get them with that charagma in them, and just make you goyim, cattle, mindless, obedient slaves for the rest of eternity, if they had their will. But again, as it says in Revelation 12 verse 12, that devil knoweth that he hath but a short time. These Edomites have just about reached those bounds which they cannot pass. That's why their kingdom globally is deteriorating and crumbling right before their very eyes. According to Christopher Ketchum, the exact kind of NSA snooping that Edward Snowden had just described was being used to feed data into the Main Core database, a host of publicly disclosed programs, sources say, now supply data to Main Core. Most notably are the NSA domestic surveillance programs initiated in the wake of 9/11, typically referred to in the press reports as warrantless wiretapping. A front-page article in the Wall Street Journal shed further light onto the extraordinarily invasive scope of the NSA efforts. According to the journal, the government can now electronically monitor huge volumes of records of domestic emails and internet searches. Hey, so even if you aren't out on the highways and byways preaching this word or even put up video epistles, best believe that you're on a list for simply clicking onto Hebrew Israelite videos or information, liking videos, or commenting on them. Hey, they know that you know enough to have searched out the Hebrew Israelites, as well as bank transfers, credit card transactions, travel, and telephone records. And real quick, there's a point I wanted to make that I forgot, to show just how much the Hebrew Israelites have been under surveillance by the government. Salaki, I'm just looking for it right now. Salakia. I'm looking for a particular word. Satan don't want me to find it. Oh, it's in here somewhere. We might just have to go through this. Executive orders issued over the last 3 decades define it as a natural disaster, military attack, or technological or other emergency, while the Department of Defense document includes eventualities like riots, acts of violence, insurrections, unlawful obstructions, or assemblages and disorder prejudicial to public law and order. I was looking for where it said terroristic attacks, because back in 2011, when the 9/11 took place, our apostle elders were actually arrested and held in prison for being suspect of being a part of the 9/11 attacks, which was clearly bullshit, and they were released. But that just goes to show that they've got our eye on us, and whatever major next event they pull, don't be surprised when the Hebrew Israelites are one of the main targets they come after to detain and throw into these prisons. Authorities employ sophisticated software programs to sift through the data, searching for suspicious patterns. In effect, the program is a mass catalog of the private lives of Americans, and it's notable that the article hints at the possibility of programs like MainCore. The NSA effort also ties into data from an ad hoc collection of so-called black programs whose existence is undisclosed, the journal reported, quoting unnamed officials. Many of the programs in various agencies began years before the 9/11 attacks, but have since been given greater reach. The following information seems to be fair game for collection without warrant. The email addresses you send to and receive from, and the subject lines of those messages, the phone numbers you dial, the numbers that you dial into your line, and the duration of the calls, the internet sites you visit, and the keywords in your web searches, the destinations of the airline tickets you buy, the amount of locations of your ATM withdrawals, the goods and services you purchase on credit cards. All of this information is archived on government supercomputers and, according to sources, also fed into the MainCore database. This stuff is absolutely chilling, and there have been hints that such a list still exists today. What in the world is happening to America? What in the world are we turning into? So that's it with this article. As you can see, projects and programs and measures are on the books to come against those that the government deems as enemies of the state, a threat to national security. And like we went through with these precepts, this truth is the ultimate threat to national security. By simply preaching the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, we're bringing about the end of Esau, Edom, and these heathen nations as a whole's rulership. So this devil is about to come down in great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. But this is 2nd Esdras chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 69. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach, and trodden under foot. Speaking of the wicked of our people that give in to Esau, Edom, and his demands. These Edomites are still going to fuck you over, torture you, and if you receive that charagma, the RFID/NFC, MICROCHIPIMPLANT, the MARKOFTHEBEAST, in Revelation 13 verses 16 to 18, you're ultimately going to get burned up by those nuclear missiles once they're shot to the ends of the earth. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, the Hebrew Israelites. They're going to try, they're going to do their best to get their hands on as many Hebrew Israelites as they can, especially the elect, to put them to death and try to keep this word from going out. They shall be like madmen, sparing none. And those madmen can include these martial law and FEMA troops, NATO and EU troops, mercenaries, the Russians and Chinese, which already have cells in the United States of America. Real quick, there was another brother up in Chicago who told the elder bro Malcolm in Chicago that he got a call from some Chinese soldiers saying they look forward to killing niggers in America. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. And even though they're going to be coming after so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that identify as Israelites, hey, it's called Jacob's trouble for a reason. Hey, these calamities are coming to the whole nation of Israel, but the difference is that the elect are going to have that protective hedge over them. As for 2/3 of our people in America and the wicked of our people globally, you're not going to have that hedge over you, and you're going to get whatever judgment comes your way from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai through his sword, the wicked, Esau Edom, coming down in great wrath. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Like I was saying earlier, you Akim, hey, you should be mindful of what you signed up for. Don't be surprised when the time comes, your door gets kicked in at 3 in the morning and you're dragged out of your house, cast out of your house, and cast into prison by this devil. But remember, endure all things to the end, and ye shall receive that crown of life, even if it's your lot to be put to death. Verse 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. And what does it say in Zechariah chapter 13? And that 1/3 shall be brought through the fire, as gold is tried in the fire of adversity, but 2/3 that are brought through are going to be cut off, destroyed. And they're going to be known that they weren't of that elect number. But in that day, when all these terrible calamities are coming, and the hopeful elect, which Abaratazam of that number, go through these calamities and have a level head and are able to take whatever comes their way, then it's going to be known who are the chosen, the elect of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. As it says in Isaiah chapter 33 verse 6, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding shall be thy stability in those days, and we're not to fear, because we know that no matter what, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai has our back. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith Yahweh, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, that devil coming down in great wrath, but I will deliver you from the same. Whether creating situations for us to get out of being put to death and surviving all the way to the chariots, or if it's our lot to be martyrs in this thing, the Most High is going to put a stone cold spirit on you for you to take that death manfully. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. Point blank, period. Terrible times are coming, Akim, and as it says in the scriptures, the righteous shall scarcely be saved. But we know that as long as we endure until the end, like a good soldier of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, and stand firm for the testimony of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, hey, the Most High will have our back and will ultimately receive those crowns and be of that elect number, the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven. And we're going to be able to get our hands on those that got their hands on us on this side and be able to execute perfect vengeance and judgment on them. So that's it with this Shabbat lesson video. And with this Shabbat lesson video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, who are quickly going down. So again, as always, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and whom I learned this truth from. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and Shabbat Shalom.